Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Damionblackgear playing more Magic the Gathering. We are trying to slip out of there. That's not going to happen. We're going to be running this again. Now, somebody asked me last time why, or if I think Junk is the best deck in the format, and I just conceded and called it Junk. I don't think it's the best deck in the format, but as you can see, I don't have the greatest card selection. So, yeah, this is one of those deal with it situations. Money counts. I don't make tons of it. I make enough to get by, and maybe one day I'll actually invest more into Magic Online and whatnot, but I don't see that really being a thing there. So now that we've gotten the politics out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the changes of the deck. First up, we have the Stronghold in the deck. We've gone down to 2 Wastelands. This actually replaced. Reason being, and first how I look at this, move up a little bit. The way I look at this is these are both colored sources of mana. One of them kills itself, one of them does not. So I count these as half lands, whereas this I count as a full land. Both of them produce the same color, so I'm not really doing anything but changing the way or the utility that goes along with my colorless land. That being the ability to kill itself and cut me off of it, slash my opponent maybe off of a color, and the ability to re-get or buy back my creatures. This has great synergy with Sigarda as well as Geist. If I can put Sigarda on top of my deck, untap and play Sigarda, then chances are the deck that I'm playing against is going to have an issue. Also, Sigarda has done her job in the form of blocking Emrakul and being put back on top of the deck at the end of turn. That was a very long, drawn-out game. Don't ask, but this has happened. Also, she blocks Emrakul and makes it not as good. Makes Mazavith actually really good against Emrakul because a vanilla 15/15 with no type of protection does not beat Mazavith. So, she has her purpose. It has its purpose. Also, with the Strangleroot Geist, it gives me something where I can kind of have a pseudo Wall of Blossoms effect where my attacker has Undying, which is what it really is. But he'll come back a little bit bigger, and he trades with a lot of the format. You figure Bobs, Stoneforge Mystics, and Deathrite Shamans. Like this is everything that the format really is. It's a bunch of X2s in the format. So yeah, and Liliana effects, which Undying also helps deal with. So I mean, it works with the new additions to the deck. It works with the old ones because if your Bob gets killed, you can just put your Bob back on top of your library and go from there, and that'll help get you through those things. If your knights are dead, you can buy back your knights. If you've got 3 open mana, this in black-white, then a Deathrite Shaman can't really gain somebody life out of your graveyard because you just put it on top in response. Granted, that means that you actually want that creature. So, I mean, if I'm playing against some random rug deck that's got a Deathrite Shaman, I'm not buying this guy back. They can have the 2 life. Also, I think they're probably doing it wrong, but that's beside the point. Let's see. Other changes. The 2 Stranglegeist. So, Planeswalkers are really starting to become the format. And I say that because I don't think that the Jund deck would be very good without 4 Liliana. I don't think that the Miracles decks would be very good without Jace. I don't think that any of the decks that are really being played that often would be as good as they are if they didn't have access to those Planeswalkers. And being able to attack them with haste gives us a kind of way to be proactive against dealing with them instead of as reactive as we have to be, because we can't do anything until they're on the field no matter what. But at least this gives us something where it's like, okay, well, I have a solution. And granted, he can't kill Jace right off the bat, but he does give us the ability to knock Jace to 1. And typically anyway, I mean, Jace is most likely going to come in and bounce whatever I have. That's typically what he's done. Very rarely do I see Brainstorm. It's either bounce or Fate Seal. And in which case, if they see this, it's like, okay, well, they either leave it on top, and they either have a swords or some way to deal with this, or Jace just stops going up, which takes Jace out of the threat category. Nice way to have to deal with him. By the way, this lets us put a creature on top in case they leave the card on top, so being able to just, like, shove one of these on top with this, and then swing in with it the next turn, kind of useful. Let's see, other changes or other reasonings. So yeah, he'll typically kill a Jace or at least keep it where it is. He'll knock a Liliana out for the first 2 turns that she's out there because most people aren't making me discard right away. It's dealing with whatever's on the field. I mean, you don't really want any of these creatures to just sit there because it's nothing but value. So yeah, that's a thing. Let's see. We upped back to 3 knights. We dropped down to 2 for a little bit. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see that. It was a theory that I had been having, and there was a kitchen finks in there. Let's just say I got a little jaded from the last time. Not having that when I could have gotten finks off of Green Sun Zenith and survived. Yep, that was a thing. But I decided that the knights were probably more important. There's a lot of show and tell online, so I'd rather have the ability to show and tell in a knight and be able to fight an Emrakul than to or even a Gristlebrand, than have to be able to deal with it the hard way. Um, that being said, we do have a Sigarda now. I don't remember if we had her last time. She's been an addition. I've given her a go a couple times. She's looped Emrakul blocking. Oh yeah, that game went that long. She's allowed Mazovith to be awesome. That's how that game went that long. And she pretty much just makes a Liliana just cry, because there's no way for a lot of the decks in the format that are playing Liliana to actually deal with her. And that's just simply because they can't make me sacrifice to kill anything, as well as if she's on the field, most of the format can't actually interact with her. So flyers are a rare thing. She does, however, trade with Tombstalker. Another good reason to have this. But I haven't seen a Tombstalker in about 5 to 6, maybe a year. I'd say a year is a good call on the length of time that I haven't seen a Tombstalker. It has been a while. I also don't see Baneslayer Angels. Like, the only thing I see is Gristlebrand in the air, Delver of Secrets in the air, which this will automatically trump, Lingering Souls tokens, and Emrakuls. That's about all I see in the air. Those clicks. I forgot about clicks. I've seen clicks. I haven't seen a Sower of Temptation, but I've seen clicks. So those 5 creatures, and she beats all but 2 of them, and those 2, one of them she kind of makes a lot worse, and the other one, it is what it is. I mean, I'd rather have this guy. I put that video up a while back of that. Yeah, let's go. I'll fight it, Gristlebrand. I bet you thought that I was going to swear out loud. Silence. In the board, we've added a Duress. We're up to 5 discard. Just kind of dealing with the show and tell decks, giving ourselves a way to interact with burn decks without taking 2. And for the most part, I like Duress over Inquisition. I'm going to explain this in one simple way. Every single deck that you're going to play a discard effect against, that you want a discard effect, you are probably wanting the spell. And the spell can cost 4 or more. You have Moat, you have Omniscience, you have Sneak Attack, there we go, that's the one. You have Jace. They all cost more than 3, and those are all key spells. Your under 3 key spells are Show and Tell, Enchantress effects, and that's pretty much it. Notice how many of those are non-creature permanents, like, or non-creature cards. Like, there's no real reason to play Inquisition over Duress if you're supplementing it with Thoughtseize. One of the current thoughts right now is playing Lingering Souls. As you can see, I don't have a build to support, or not Lingering Souls, but, well, yeah, that's the thing. I don't have a, Cabal Therapy is the card, and I don't have a build to support Cabal Therapy. It'd be very disadvantageous for me to, hindering, there we go, very hindering for me to actually try and flash back a Cabal Therapy. And that's simply because, look at the number of creatures I have. We have 16 total creatures. Now, granted, I can rebuy them back, but do I really want to take that time to tempo myself in order to get a card from their hand? In some matches, that's a yes, but in most matches, that's going to be a no. So, we're not going to do that. We're going to try other things. We're going to hopefully pull out at the end and be happy. We are more susceptible to things like Blood Moon, as we're missing the Mox Diamonds. We are more susceptible to Price of Progress, as we're missing the Mox Diamonds. But, as you all know, I'm a basics whore, and I will go for those basics no matter what. Moving forward, we have 2 libraries. I got tired of paying mana for top, so we swapped that count. Hasn't really made an impact for it to be that way, so not a big deal. The 3rd Lilianas come in because there are a lot of other Lilianas in the format. Like I said, Planeswalkers are really making their mark. People are starting to figure this card is good out. Deathrite Shaman helped that, but, I mean, this card has been amazing for a while, and nobody's given it its credit. Like, I had 2 Elspeths in this list. They spoiled Liliana. And on my list, until this card came out, it read Liliana. And as soon as the card came out, it became that. This card is awesome, and it does everything that you want to do in this deck. Even if you're in top deck mode, if you're in top deck mode, there's no reason not to use her +1. You're typically, even if you have 2 cards in your hand, going to be able to do her +1 and gain an advantage. So yeah, think it out, plan your turns, plan ahead, expect to be getting rid of a card a turn. You'll be fine. Even if, I mean, if I draw Knight Sigarda and I can only play one of them, one, I want to play Sigarda most of the time, but Knight's not bad either, and I don't mind discarding Sigarda. When I had the Batterskulls in there, in the Stoneforge Mystics, I had a Batterskull and a Pulse in hand, and I wanted to be able to play the Batterskull, got rid of it, just wasn't worth it. Pulse to Jace, the next turn he played something, killed that. Like, there's no good reason not to activate her 99% of the time. Now, I say 99 because those instances do come up, but we're going to leave those alone until they do come up. Moving into the board, Chokes are back. As you all know, I love this card. I hate blue decks. That's probably why you won't see me really play a Force of Will deck until they become good again, which I don't think they are right now. Counterspells are inherently bad against mass discard, so yeah. Granted, you can discard the counterspells if they're playing things like Funeral Charm, but if they have the choice, being stranded with counterspells in your hand against an opponent who's getting rid of your 7 to 10 actual threats, that's not something that you can deal with. And that's a reason why I don't like playing blue decks, especially right now. But on the same hand, blue decks are how you keep the combo meta in check, which I was actually expecting to be, we're going to move on. I was expecting it to be storm-based combos and excessive spellcasting combos, so I had actually switched back for a period of time to be 3 Thalias and a single T. Unfortunately, I guessed wrong. So yeah, the meta actually changed to be more show and tells. There's now a whole, the Dream Halls deck got a new card, and there's a show and tells Dream Halls Omniscience deck that I'm still confused as to how it's consistent, but I mean, sure, why not? Never understood combo decks anyway. Maybe that's why I'm terrible against them. Let's see. Golgari Charm I've been over before. Hymns. These used to be Tide Hollow Scullers, but there's that point where you're like, you'll take a card from them, and then suddenly it's like Burning Wish for Pyroclasm, and you're like, wow, there's my Teague and my Sculler. And I got sick of things like that actually being relevant. So yeah. With it being more show and tell style decks, Burning Wish is one of the cards that they use, show and tell being a sorcery, Pyroclasm also being a sorcery. So yeah, we've switched to Hymns. They don't get their cards back. Helps lower their hand for Liliana. If I can go turn 2 Liliana, turn 3 Hymn, I guarantee you that game is done. Because that's what their hand size. We'll say 7. They brainstorm, so it's down to 6 from the land they played. The next turn down to 5, 4 when they actually do it. We next turn hymn them. That means it's down to 2. They play another land and they have 1 card in hand, and that's without them playing a spell that doesn't actually like do anything. And when I say do anything, I mean cantrip. So yeah, empty hand, 2-card combo deck. Let's see. We're going to go over to these 2 timely reinforcements. As you see, they were separated. I actually recorded this once already, and the recording did not stick. So, yeah. I forgot to turn on my microphone. Talked for like 20 minutes into silence. Yay! Almost just decided to upload that video and leave you 20 minutes of me moving my mouse. Done it before to some people on a different channel, so yeah. Don't think I'm beyond that. But we've got 2 timely reinforcements, and the reason they were spread out is because I'm not sure if I want 2 of them. I know I want some type of life gain just to be able to help fight the burn decks, and 1 isn't really enough to be able to reliably find and cast, but neither is really 2. My chances double, in the sense that I have, well, basically 1/30th as opposed to 1/60th of my deck is being able to do that, but the question becomes, would another hymn be better? I mean, any deck that I'd really want a timely reinforcements against, a hymn technically represents the same amount of life. But the other part of it is, the same reason you take Thoughtseizes out against burn is the same reason you would bring timelies in. This basically shocks yourself, so it's damage that they don't have to pay for, whereas this, even though it's the same life change, if I hit 2 bolts, it's mana that they have to put in. It's time that they have to put in. So I'm buying more time with these than I am with these. So that's been the theory and the debate. This would help me do if I actually shove this over here? Any of those combo decks that aren't running something to deal with this, that aren't running like Leyline of Sanctity or misdirections, diverts, things along those lines, which is something they should be looking into, by the way, they will have to deal with more or less another set of hymns, but I'm not getting the time that I would originally have had against the burn decks. And there's a lot of burn online. There's also a lot of combo. You'll see a lot of Belcher. I know a bunch of people that are playing Belcher. It's a solid choice for online where forces are $100 and people don't want to build whole new collections. Hint, 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 hint. So, yeah, that is the list. There's a daily in about 30 minutes now, so I'm going to go quick make some breakfast and jump into that daily. Try and get the cards before I go make breakfast or while I'm making breakfast. We'll see. And yeah, hopefully we get all this done and in, and I can put something up for you guys to see, because I've been slacking on that mainly because of the computer. Oh yeah, if you're wondering why there hasn't been a video lately, this is my old laptop. My new one, my new computer does not like Moto, or at least it doesn't like recording Moto. If I try and record Moto, it looks like I tried to blow up a picture that was maybe the size of this and put it full screen. And anybody who's ever done video editing knows that that doesn't work very well. In fact, shrink this screen down, print screen, paste it in Notepad, and then stretch it. You'll see what happens. Basically, you couldn't tell any of these cards except for by like vague outlines of the pictures, and you had to take guesses. So it would have been a lot of very detailed commentary. But I pulled back out the old laptop, which I had actually wiped, so reinstalling Windows was fun. Then I had to put back on Camtasia. Yeah, it was not a pretty thing. And considering that I don't actually own a copy of Windows 7 or anything, this was a Windows XP install, it took forever. Yeah. So, hope you guys appreciate it. Hope you guys had fun. I'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to go eat, and then we'll play some Magic, and afterwards I'm going to take a nap and go to work. Alright, bye-bye.